Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, December the 21st. We're here for the morning New York session. Back on the Nasdaq 100 futures, utilizing the March contract. We're going to continue our scalping strategy today on the 30-second chart. After quite an eventful afternoon yesterday for everyone who was on, it was quite a drag. And then at 2:30, we all were met with quite a surprise. So let's see what today has in store for us. I took a peek today. We did have news today, this morning at 8:30. We had GDP numbers come out, unemployment claims. Let's see. So GDP was quarter over quarter was less than forecasted. Unemployment claims came in at less than forecasted. So for GDP, that was actually bad news. But for unemployment claims, that was good news for the economy. And the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index also came in below expectations, which is not good. So in this case, we may see the dollar not be as strong today as it was yesterday. So that may allow the commodities to recover some of the losses from yesterday afternoon. Just want to take a peek and see where we are, where we landed. Let's just go at a higher level and just take a peek at where the charts are. In fact, let's do the dollar first. All right, so as we see the dollar so far selling off yesterday, the last 3 or 4 days have been internal range liquidity from the Thursday candle. And then we see today pushing towards lower prices and potentially breaking the low of Thursday. So dollar looks like it may be returning bullish after several sort of neutral days. Is now looking like it. I'm sorry, not bullish. It looks like it may be returning bearish, pushing for lower prices. If in fact that is the case, we may see and should see higher prices on the commodity end. So let's go back over. Look at a very high level of Nasdaq. We saw Nasdaq buy up for approximately 9-10 days after about a 2-week consolidation period after Thanksgiving, and then we saw a sizable retracement yesterday. These things are normal and actually required for price to be balanced. So it's not that it can happen for price to remain bullish and continue to seek higher prices. It's just I'm not sure how many people were really aware and waiting for a huge downside to happen yesterday afternoon. I was looking for it to happen yesterday morning. I thought that the dollar would buy up in the morning after the news was announced, but it stalled all day and into the afternoon and waited into the last couple of hours, and then it really just started to pump. But we'll see today if there's a recovery and a new high sought, or if we're just going to fill in this gap and maybe trade lower once again before higher prices. Not quite sure now, but we'll see how price delivers in the next 15, 30 minutes or so, and then we'll see what we believe is going to happen for the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. Let's drop down to the hour and see if there's anything to note. So we do have this big candle from 2 o'clock yesterday, the 2 o'clock candle that provided quite a sizable gap, a fair value gap, which we saw this morning at 8:30 when news was announced. It dug into approximately half of that. To complete this fair value gap will take us to 17,030. So we'll see if price wants to get up there. And if we want to put in new lows, we're going down to 16,757. So again, 16,757 or 17,033 is kind of what we're going to be looking at today. So let's get back down to the lower time frame and see where price is. Right, Ennis, good morning. Good morning. Now we can see even from the opening bell, we had drive up in price for looks like about 30, 40 points or so. And then we've had a sell-off ever since. The sell-off actually started after the 8:30. We had the same action. A drive up at 8:30, and then it's been selling off ever since. Let's see the London session. The London session didn't really provide much. We had a slight recovery, not a whole lot, and then a lot of sideways action as it waited for the 8:30 news to be announced. All right, so I'll keep the 5 minute down in the lower left-hand corner, which gives you a better idea of what price has been doing over a longer period of time. Looks like we have about 4 hours worth of candles there. So yeah, so far we see that we're putting in lower prices, so we're going to be bearish starting out today, and we'll see where price takes us. Although I do want to be careful, we're right back at the same location we're at the 9:30 open. We can see this long wick here at 9:30. Oh, I'm sorry, 8:30. This is where the 8:30 open was, where news was announced, and price immediately ran from this level all the way up to the 960 level. So there was a 100-point move once the news was announced. So actually, let me mark out that low so we can see when we pass and trade below. Okay, energetic candle there to get below the 8:30 levels. So it looked like they are seeking lower prices because we didn't see an energetic move off of it. We're getting close to the midnight open down at the 837, 838 level. You can see it's marked by a dash line. And then we have the new week opening gap here in green. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me see. Yesterday's low is 16,760. So we got about another 80 points if yesterday's low is going to be the target. And then again, if yesterday's low is the target and we start moving that in that direction, we got to see what is below yesterday's low. What else may be below yesterday's low? Find a PD array there that price may want to settle in at. Okay. All right, a sweep of a high here. Let's see if it continues to push lower down to this midnight level at 638. I'm sorry, at 838. Okay, so we're attacking these two fair value gaps here. We've already taken over the lower one. See if we get a rejection out of here and return to lower prices, or if this is going to be the start of a nice retracement. I replaced the 5-minute in the lower left-hand corner with the 15-minute candle, or the 15-minute chart, and you can see the wick that's being created on this 15-minute candle. Okay, let's move up to the 1-minute. Let's just see if the 1-minute gives us a slightly clearer view of what we're looking for. Okay, looks like there's going to be a retest of the 830, and that's where it is right now. We just had a trade above the 830. Now we're retesting. The wick is right on the 830 open. It's also a a sizable fair value gap that it's sitting in that was just created. Right? Okay, so the 830 was also the 50%. That would have been a nice place to enter on a long. Just because you have a fair value gap, 50%, as well as the 830 sitting right on top of each other. And then you have relative equal lows here. Okay, that would have been a 30-point stop loss, which would have been a bit much. Would have went for these equal lows here. And so that would have taken about 20 points. Yeah. So that would have been a 20-point stop loss, go 1 to 2 on this one. So if I took that trade, I'd be looking for 40 points. So taking it up to 112. So basically above this swing high and a couple more points. But that's neither here nor there. I was too late. I'm not in the trade. Yep. So this is, had I taken a trade, this is how I would have lined it up. So this is how I would have saw this as the silver bullet, the ICT silver bullet. So you have the fair value gap created after 10 o'clock. And so this is what I generally like to take those as a 1 to 2 trade. So if you're entering, oh, that's why I knew something was wrong. Entering here at the start of the fair value gap, and then you go for a 1 to 2. Okay, yeah, that's a much larger trade if you take it at the very beginning of the fair value gap as opposed to the 50%. Typically, I would take it at the very beginning. I wouldn't enter at 50%. So even in this hypothetical scenario, I'm just going to have to return to my roots as to how I take the trade. And then I generally will put the stop loss under the candle to the left of the candle that created the fair value gap. So that would be this candle, and it would be the wick here. 54.78. Okay, so that's a 24-point stop loss. And looking for a 48-point take profit, which we can see it's almost there. It's a tick away. There it is. So it would have delivered. I wasn't quick enough to switch over to the 1 minute chart. I was still looking at the 30-second, and by the time I switched over, it was already in this range, moving out of it. But that's what the ICT silver bullet looks like at 10 o'clock. So it looked like this would have been the target, that swing high, which takes us back to a consolidation zone. So let's see where price goes from here. Good morning, Chris. Good morning. Are you ready to have a better day today? Yeah, same for me, Ennis. I did think that prices was going to continue lower, so so I didn't enter that either. But it's good. Every day, awesome. What do you guys think of the 15-minute being in the left-hand corner as opposed to the 5-minute down here? Do you like the 15 better than the 5, or would you rather see the 5? Okay, sweet. And it's like the 15. Okay. NQ, not ES, did a higher high. Okay. Ooh, yeah, I see. At least on the hourly chart, we've seen it. Hmm. Let's see if ES wants to match his brothers and get up to 16,950. Excuse me, 16,959. Yeah, we have dojis right now on all the indices, and we have the dollar buying for the hour. Yep, so we started here for the hour, traded down, traded up, and now we're back at this middle zone where we started. Pretty much all the indices are doing that. The dollar for the entire hour has just been buying up. It's retracing a little bit now, but for the most part, it's still bullish. Okay. Now the question is, was this liquidity grab just that? And now we're going to see lower prices. Will we get another push out of this area like we did the last time? All right. Time for a little Java refill. Be right back. Okay, so we did get some reaction off of this level. We'll have to wait and see if it's as strong as the last time, but we did get a reaction. Shift back over to the 1 minute, which is where we saw this last time. Okay, 910 would be half of this wick on the 15 minute. Let's see if price pushes through that point and continues upwards. Okay, we're getting close. I mean, okay, remember 910, that's the level for 50% of the wick on the 15-minute. I'm going to see if we continue with bullish momentum after this. See if we race for the swing high that was just created 10 minutes ago. Okay, so we're kind of stuck in the middle now with price stalling for the last 10, 15 minutes or so. Prior to that, what we saw was a breakdown in price back down to the London open levels. And we saw a slight recovery, taking out a few areas of liquidity on the last couple of swing highs on its way down. And then ever since it did that, it just kind of, it's been indecisive. Thought maybe we would continue to see a run up. It didn't do that. Thought maybe we'd see a return to lower prices. But it came down in the same place that it impulsed out last time. It just kind of got stuck again. So we're going to just continue to monitor price just to see where it wants to go, since it's already returned to pretty much the start of today's, at least calendar day price action. We got within less than 10 points of the midnight open. And so, so now we just want to see where price wants to go. Let me peek back over to some of our sister indices as well as the dollar. Just see what's going on there. Okay, so not a lot of activity going on in the dollar. It's pretty much in the same spot it was in 15 minutes ago. And yeah, the others indices are doing the same thing, the Dow and the S&P. On the hourly, on the hourly chart, all three indices are right now looking like small, tiny candle bodies on a doji. So a big wick above and a big wick below, and not a lot in between. So now it's just kind of an indecisive period. It's been 40 minutes into the hour, and we're pretty much at the start of where the hour was. We first made a move down, then made a move above, and then retraced back to the start of the hour price action. So like I said, let's just continue to monitor price and wait for price to decide where the next move is, and then let's follow. Yeah, we're probably going to get something really soon just because of where we are. Right. So there's only two ways to go, and running out of space, so we won't have to wait too much longer. I don't think the mic is muted. Let's see. Testing, testing. Anybody here? Testing. Sorry, let me this out of the way so you can see my mouth moving. Welcome to the channel, Brother Free. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Testing, testing. Okay, let me try to something else. Okay, is that better? Can you hear me? Okay, excellent. Awesome, Dustin. Let me see if I can raise the volume just a hair. All right, looks like we're getting close to a breakout. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. So far, I have not taken a trade. I'm doing well today, though. It's a nice morning here in Arizona. I'm 2 hours behind New York, so it's almost 9 o'clock here for me. Check on the other indices and see if they're doing any better than we are over in NAS. You know what? Let me just swap over since we're waiting. I'll just put it on the screen for you guys. Here's a little peek at ES for all the ES traders. So we got the same show happening over here. All right, let's put the ES down in the lower corner as well. So we have a chance to look at the 15-minute while we also look at the one. Okay, so we've had a steady climb since the close of yesterday. It's just been slow grinding upwards until obviously the news this morning gave it some larger candles. Um, but we do see that because of yesterday's activity after 2:30, the sharp decline in price, there's some rather large fair value gaps that we're sitting in the middle of now. That's likely why price is stalling and is not willing to push higher at the moment. But it's not pushing lower either. So that's, I don't know, I think that's providing me with a little bit of comfort that we may still be seeking higher prices. And it's similar to what we saw yesterday, where it just kept pushing and pushing, and it was trying to get through that weekly fair value gap that was created early in 2022. Um, Unfortunately, it lost that battle, and that was the sharp decline that we saw. After pushing and pushing all day, it eventually just price just collapsed. All right, let's bounce back over to the Nasdaq. All right, back at this fair value gap that we've seen it respond to twice. The last response wasn't huge, but it was still a response. It was still a bullish response from entering this zone and touching the 50% level. Okay, we saw a break out of that sort of funnel it was building. Let's reestablish our long two for just in case we want to take a scalp. Let's create a short one as well. Oh, which one did you miss? Right, so it's tested this lower edge of the fair value gap 3 times now. So far, it's not been able to push through or close below. Oh, there we go. All right, finally a breakthrough. Let's see if it wants to close below or if it closes back inside of the fair value gap. And let me adjust this fair value gap as well because I believe that was the 1 minute. So let me adjust it to the 30-second version. 1037. Trade it back up into here. I see. Yeah, you got 3 or 4 opportunities to jump in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one as well, 5. Yeah, it'll have been a nice 30 pointer, 30 to 40 points. Break a block and a fair value gap. Oh, I see. I see. I didn't. Good point. Break a block. 50% of break a block is the fair value gap. Yep. Trade it down. You'd have waited for the retracement back in. Hit your 50% mark, and you're expecting a breakdown. Oh man. Yeah, that would have been sweet. That would have been a sweet trade. Yeah, I'm still not as good as I need to be at recognizing breaker blocks. Yeah, that's the thing. If you hesitate to enter on the first one and then it just kind of plays around and doesn't really do anything, hard to jump in afterwards. Okay, so on the 15-minute, we saw a price after creating this long wick on the 10-15 candle. We saw a price return to 50% of it, and then it broke down afterwards. We also, the 10 o'clock candle created a long down wick, and we just recently traded to 50% of that at 864. Um, so now that both of those levels have been covered, as far as efficiency is concerned, let's see where price moves to next. Right, in just a few seconds, we'll be at 11 o'clock. Oh, okay, got it. Just questioned yourself. It's okay. The good news, Anis, there's always another trade. All right, so we did have slight reaction to the lower region of the fair value gap. We saw price close below a couple times, just barely, but then it immediately return back into the gap, closing inside and now closing above. Oh, how nice. That would have been a sweet scalp. And not even using the normal methodology I use. I just thought price would run for these equal highs. And as I did the same thing, you saw me mark this up and then I questioned myself. That would have been a quick 20 points right there. 2 candles, 1 minute. Wow. Did anyone go long from this region? Anyone on the channel? Hmm. Oh, okay. We'll laugh it off. It's funny. Good morning, Will. Good morning. Welcome to the channel. In and out. Okay. Got it, Chuck. Yeah, we can see prices kind of stuck here. Not sure what's going on, but it's been over a half hour and we still haven't moved very much. Jello, morning, welcome. Good to have you in here. Oh, you're trading micros? That's fine, Chuck. It's should be about the same. It's just I think it's worth 10% less. Or I'm sorry, only 10% of a mini. Jello, I'm closing in on 3 years. February will be 3 years from the time I discovered trading. But I would say really trading and understanding what I'm looking at and having a clear methodology on what I was doing. About 2 years in on that now. I discovered ICT in October of 21 and got really heavy into his stuff when he started the 2022 mentorship in January of 22. So that was probably the start of it. The 9 months before that, I was just kind of fumbling around and trying to figure out what trading was, and starting from the beginning. You make a lot of mistakes, or you just absorb a lot of material that you don't really need. So the first 6 to 9 months was really just discovering everything that trading had to offer, before I could narrow it down and zero in into what I liked. But yeah, you're right, Will. It's a slow day for sure, or at least since 10 o'clock when we joined. I mean, but even though it's slow, I mean, anyone who took an entry from here, 20 or 30 points it's a sizable trade. That's enough to close your laptop and go do something else for the day. Okay. 2 years. Oh, okay. Oh, awesome, Jello. Good job. All right, looks like we're pushing back to this fair value gap, that price sat in at the end of the last hour. We also have just a couple more minutes before the macro, the 1050 to 1110 macro completes. And it looks like maybe we're going to finish this macro exactly where we started. Yep. But while we wait, I want to grab my last cup of coffee this morning, and get ready for this last hour of trading before lunch. So just bear with me for 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Let's see where price is sitting now. All right, looks like we pushed down to the lower extreme of the fair value gap, but still closed inside. In fact, above the 50%. Yeah, let's see when we break out of this cycle here. And you're just going back and forth to this. All right, so the macro is now complete. I didn't see any liquidity that it took. It didn't really take any liquidity. It may have created some by making another high. Also by putting a low down here. And the only thing it did really was create lows here and then sweep them only to take out highs. So maybe that's what it did. It created the low to get people thinking that it was going short, and then it went long another time. See? Looks like we're getting another bullish reaction out of the fair value gap. As we can see on the 15-minute, it's really the 10 o'clock and 10:15. So that 30-minute window of price action where we saw a big push down and it closed nearly at the open, and we saw a big push up and it closed nearly at the open. We've been playing inside of that internal range ever since that occurred. So let me just mark up the extremes, because that's what's holding us in right now. 933 and 843. So that's a pretty large range. So that's 90 points. So we saw the 90 points in about 30 minutes is when that occurred. And ever since then, price has kind of been stuck. In fact, right now it's practically in the center. So let me let me get rid of this, and let me put a Fibonacci here on this range so we can see where we are. Yep, we're practically right at the 50% mark. So we trade up to premium, sell off, back to discount, buy up, and that's what we've been doing. You're right. It looks like that's exactly what it's doing. You just buy at the bottom of the range, sell at the top of the range, and just keep going back and forth. Yeah, when you find price ranging like that, you absolutely can do that. And it's pretty much low risk because you can buy in this area and your stop loss is going to be less than 10 points. It's probably going to be closer to 5. Um, so you could get stopped out because you see that it does make new lows. So it'll sweep and make a new low, but it's immediately afterwards, it'll take off. So if you give yourself a little cushion, this could be a strategy that you use. And some people probably do. They like it when price is ranging because you know exactly where the highs and lows are. All right, looks like we have quite a bit of new energy in the room right now. So I want to thank you all for joining us. If you like the content and have been enjoying it so far, please hit the like button so we can find more people just like you through YouTube. YouTube will promote us to others searching for live streams if the people who come to the stream are enjoying it. And also, if you want to get invited to the daily live streams, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're growing. We've been doing this now for, in fact, today is 3 weeks. So everyone who's been here, whether today's your first day or you've been here for the 3 weeks that I've been live streaming, I want to thank you all for being here. We've had quite a journey, and this 3 weeks have been very rewarding. I'm looking forward to what the future has. So thank you for being here, everyone, new and old. Yep, Jello, like you said, we were just sitting right here. So if you just wanted a 10-point scalp from 64, there it was right there. And you could have taken it down here where you can see the low is at 60. Could have put your stop just below. So it would have been a low risk trade. We are now seeing basically the same low, but then we're seeing declining highs. Oops. Yep. Okay, let's put the Fibonacci back up. Don't do this to me. Hey, let's see if we can hold this position. All right, so we'll close that trade with 20 points. Not the best trade in the world, but it's a good start to the day. And after watching all of this chop, um, I guess FOMO started to settle in. Let's get rid of some of this noise so we can see the charts actually. Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Not the best, but 400 bucks per contract is those are easy to come by. You should be able to hit several of those in a day if you need to. But one should be enough, especially if you have multiple funded accounts. You can go in and $400 on 2 or 3 different accounts, and you're talking about over 1,000 for the day, which I think most of us can agree we can live off of. Yeah, we absolutely could push higher. We have this area here which hasn't been really visited since the last hour over here. But if we're able to push above this fair value gap, then we have an area here that wants to be filled in. We have an area here that wants to be filled in. Um, Plus the 10 o'clock high can be swept, right? There are plenty of levels that can be taken. Just got to check in on the dollar, see how it's doing, and also take a peek at the other indices. Yes, Jello, I trade with Topstep. Yep. So with Topstep, you go through sort of an intermediary broker called Tradovate. And Tradovate allows you to trade through TradingView as opposed to using another platform. TradingView is the platform I always use to mark up my charts, as well as when I was first starting doing the paper trading. And so I was really comfortable with TradingView, and Topstep allows you to integrate through Tradovate and trade on TradingView. Oh, that was so hard to say. I don't know why. That was tough. Let me just see if I can't go back to what I was looking at for that last trade. So I think it was Ennis who was talking about earlier. He said he missed on a 30-second. He missed a breaker block, which set up a trade for him. Would have set up a trade for him. And so I was just looking at the way price was moving, and I saw this dip below. So I saw this area kind of buy up, and then I saw it dip below, taking out these 2 lows. And then I saw it trade above. So with my limited knowledge of breaker blocks, I saw this as a range that it might want to trade off of. So when it traded above over here, and I said, okay, so now we have a breaker block. When it was trading back down, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I was trying to set up a trade before it tapped the 50% here. And then by the time I got my trade and everything set up, it was then trading up in this area. And so I had to wait for it to come back down one more time to get in. And then that was the trade that I took. Might have been some flawed logic in there. And it just luck and just kind of worked out for me. But that was what I was thinking. But with the way price action is right now, I mean, it's probably not a good idea to expect price to exceed this area until it does. So if you are going to take a short from here, want to exit somewhere in this area. If you're going to take a long from down here, you're going to want to exit somewhere up here. until price breaks out of this range and then shows us something different. Let me go and check and see where we are on the other indices. All right, dollar, nothing this hour. The dollar is basically sitting on his hands, not doing anything. The Dow and S&P, both dojis. The Dow is a bearish doji and S&P is a bullish doji, but not much activity this hour either. So, I mean, it's the same as Nasdaq as well. If we keep playing in this range and at the start of the hour, we're in the middle, all we do is put a wick above, put a wick below, and then trade back to the middle. I sell on the axe price, but I can't figure out how to do it. Okay, Marcelo. I don't know. I'm not sure. You say the ask price. Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by ask price. Oh man. Okay. So we've finally broken out of this region. Let's see if we get a close above. Let me also highlight the high so we can see if it gets eclipsed. Oh man. Boy. I don't know anything about VWAPs. I keep hearing people talk about VWAP, but I have never traded off of VWAP. I've never seen a tutorial on it. I don't even know what it is. Oh, getting filled on the ask price instead of the bid. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just do limit orders from where I want to buy or where I want to sell. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean, Marcello. But the way I take trades is I just find the level I want and I right click, and then there's a trade, and then you choose either buy or sell, and it already has where you click that. So if you right click at the spot you want to take the trade, it'll give you the option, right? You can create a new order. There's the price you're going to enter at. This is a buy. So then I can click in where I want to take profit, where I want to stop loss. And if I don't want to buy and I want to sell, you can just click over to the other side and do the exact same thing, right? Now, this right here, this bid is here. This is just telling you how far you are away from the place you want to enter in at. But I hope that helps. But I'm not 100% sure of your question. Yeah, Jello, I have a friend of mine who always talks about the VWAP, and every time he takes a trade, he said, yeah, man, it bounced right off the VWAP. And I jumped in and I got 40 points off of it. Like, that's how he talks about trading. But since I'm not familiar with VWAP, I don't follow him all the time, but he seems to be really successful at it. All right, looks like we're getting some trend line liquidity here. Yeah, I think the reason why I haven't really moved into VWAP is because when I first started trading, it was Some of you may have done the same thing, but I started through a company called IML where they give you all these tools to enter trades, but they don't really teach you how to trade or anything. And so I'm a person who always asks why a million times about everything to try to understand the mechanics of it. And since that style of trading didn't really teach me how to trade or why things were happening, I had to find a different way, which is how I discovered ICT. And then afterwards, I just kind of had a, I don't know, negative impression on indicators, or I wanted to learn to trade without indicators. And so that's why I never really looked for anything else. And so now I hear a lot of people talk about the VWAP, and I've just been trading now for a year and a half, for without any indicators, or without many indicators. Occasionally, like you see here, I have an EMA here. I put this on a few weeks ago, just because somebody in the chat was saying, hey, it bounced off the 20 EMA. And I said, okay, let me put it on just to see what that was. And I never took it off. But as you can see, there aren't any other indicators here. I do have, if you look to the bottom left in the 15-minute, I have an indicator that draws the fair value gaps for me. So I don't have to worry about drawing them all the time or deleting them and that kind of thing. But otherwise, yeah, I try to trade with a clean chart. But I tell you, with the amount of success I keep hearing people have with the VWAP, I may have to take a peek at that and see what it's all about. Yep. So when I put these trend lines here, it's usually not to take a trade off of it, but it's to pay attention to when price crosses over, because then you may see these lows fall. So while we did get a trade above this fair value gap, we're now traded back into it, and potentially now that we're on the other side of the trend line, if we close down here, then price may drop back down to the fair value gap again, sweeping this low and this low and potentially this low. So everyone who was long and just hoping that price goes up and up and up will just come and take them out of the trade. So we'll keep watching, and let's hope price can reclaim this. And that's another thing. If you see it trade above and close and reclaim it, then you have more confidence that you can hold your trade if you're already in. But I wouldn't get into a new trade based off of a trend line. Fair value gap indicator, Nephew Sam, FVG, Nephew Sam, and okay. And then inside you can decide if you want it on every time frame, if you want it to wait to close to identify it, if you want to extend the boxes all the way to the right, delete the boxes after it fill, or leave them. So you have plenty of options in there. I have max bars back 300, so it'll go back 300 candles and identify the fair value gap, but past that it won't show you anything. So that's one of the downsides, because a lot of times, like for instance, we're talking about yesterday we were looking on the weekly, and there's a fair value gap from January of 2022 that we're now inside of. Now on the weekly, it probably is still within the 300 candles, but that was January of 22. So you're talking almost 2 years ago. A fair value gap is meaningful. So in this case, if you're on a smaller time frame, it wouldn't show you that. But outside of that, it's actually a pretty good. On a 30-second, it's too much. I can't watch it on this time frame. But on the higher time frames, it's really good. Okay, 15 minutes before the hour. We're closing in on lunch hour coming up. Again, I want to thank everyone who has joined the channel today or has popped their head in just to watch us trade for a little bit. It's been quite a journey. I think we have had more views during this 2-hour segment than we've ever had. So thank you all who have joined and who are sitting here now. Let's keep it up. I plan to be here every day. So If you love trading like I do, I hope to see you. Okay, let's see if price can reclaim this trend line and start pushing upwards. Okay. I just had one contract on. So that earlier trade was one contract. It was about 20 points. So $400 was take profit. I would have done more contracts, but as I mentioned just before I took that trade, I'm not really good at identifying breaker blocks, and so I wasn't as confident as I would have normally been if that was sort of my bread and butter setup and I had back tested extensively. So I just wanted to go in with one contract. Plus, we see prices just kind of trending back and forth. So that was another reason for going in with lower risk, but it worked out, and I'm pleased with the trade. But I'll need to continue to back test that setup, and hopefully in the future I can go in with more contracts. Okay. Oh, I didn't see this by Chuck. I'm using the VWAP, several moving averages, and pivot points as a possible direction. Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's the beauty about trading. There's like 30 different ways to trade and so many different setups, and they all can be winners if you backtest them enough to where you know how to enter the trade, where to place your stop. Yeah, it's like we can all be different style traders, but still trade together and make money together. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm really enjoying it. Okay, we got the macro just before lunch getting ready to kick in. Let's see which liquidity points it runs for, whether it goes to sweep these lows from the trend line. So 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. Or are we going to go for highs and sweep this high and then go for 16,933. Okay. Order blocks. Yeah. Yeah, I found mine through ICT. We'll say the Inner Circle Trader, that some of his videos, or if you're brand new to his content, is it'll take you a few times to really understand what he's saying and what he's trying to convey in his message. So you may actually find some order block from some of his students who have made their own videos are a little easier to understand, a little easier to grasp. But yeah, if you search like ICT order block or something like that, you'll see a bunch of videos coming from his students who have simplified the method and can explain it pretty well. Probably only take you maybe a 10-minute video to understand it. Whereas if you watch an ICT video, a lot of times his videos can be well over an hour. I mean, they're very extensive, but it just depends on if that's what you're looking for. For me personally, that's the type of learning style that I'm into. I want to know everything. But if you just want to know the bread and butter pieces that you need to get moving, some of his students probably have better videos. Okay, it's first low swept. Okay, just created equal lows. I'm sure it's going to come and take that next on its way down. Just a guess of mine, not a trade that I'm taking. Mikhail, welcome to the channel. Got it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So check out some of the student videos. That'll give you a more of an overview of the content. And then as you start back testing, looking for it, if you find that that's not strong enough for you, or you're missing something, and you think that you need to go back to the Inner Circle Trader, then go and look at ICT video. But I would jump and check out his students' videos first. There's I'm trying to think the ones that I've seen that are good. There's one guy named T Trades. Trying to think of who else. So he has some really good ICT videos. Hey everyone, we got about 5 minutes remaining before the lunch hour starts, and we'll take an intermission for an hour, and we'll come back for the afternoon session. I didn't want to open the floor for any final questions, any comments, anything that you guys want to discuss before we get off. Oh, ash trades. Okay, I'll check that out because I am interested in learning more about the breaker block. And the unicorn is the breaker block, including a fair value gap. So ash trades. Okay, I'll take a look at his videos. Oh, that's awesome. That's really good of you, Chuck, to record each day so you can go back and rewatch price as it's delivering, as opposed to back testing once the candles have already printed. So it's really hard to be honest with yourself as you're back testing. Yep. But yeah, we had a really good session today. I'm really happy with the way things are developing and the way things are coming out. Happy with the participation from you guys. This is better than I could have ever imagined. Should have seen the first day I live streamed. I live streamed to myself for 2 hours. Granted, that was like 6 months ago, but still, I went live. I was sitting talking a little bit. I mean, I didn't talk to myself the whole time, but I tried to be. I tried to pretend there was someone out there listening, and no one ever came. So I'm glad YouTube is now promoting the video. So all of your likes really is helping. People are able to open up their YouTube and they get a suggestion to join our channel or to come and pay attention for a little bit. So so it's starting, it's working, and I'm very pleased. All right, so we've had now 2 lows swept. So the first one was here. We talk about the macro looking for liquidity. It started at 1150. So 1150 was this candle right here. Right? And it's just making lower prices. We've already taken 2. And here's the third one. All right. So when we built this trend line, you may have heard me refer to it as trend line liquidity. So all of these points that are touching the line are where people along this bullish run are placing their stop losses. So it waits until it has built 3, 4, 5 different positions for people to place their stop, and then price crashes and takes everyone out at the same time. And that's the way the market makes money. Yeah, me too, Chuck. I did take a break. I got out of it, and I was just looking for other ways to be creative. I couldn't really get the audio set up on my system properly. I tried everything. I looked at tons of YouTube videos on how to configure OBS and do all these different things, and nothing really worked. And then the funny thing is, one night I was looking at OBS. I opened it up, and for whatever reason, my mic was deleted. And I was actually a little frantic because I had put so much time into trying to tweak it, and I got it to as good as it could be, even though it still sucked. But I was a little frantic, and by reinstalling the mic and having to go and put in all the parameters again, luckily I had taken pictures, taken screenshots of the different settings I had from like a week prior. So deleting my mic, adding it back, and then putting the same exact settings, all of a sudden the mic worked as I expected. And so it was a mistake accidentally deleting the mic from OBS and reinstalling it that fixed the problem. But yeah, I'm glad I stuck with it as well. This has been good. It's been quite good. And thank you all for your support. I really couldn't do this without you. So now that we're into the holiday season and people are going to have revised work schedules, or people are taking off, consider inviting a friend next time you join the live stream. If you have friends that trade, you know, if they're sitting at home during this holiday season off of work or working from home and have some time, invite them to join the live stream. All right, we're coming back down to familiar territory. Just took out the third level of liquidity. Let's drop this trend line since it no longer matters. Right back where we started. So on that note, okay. Not quite where we started. We're lower than where we started. So it's taken out all the liquidity from 10 o'clock onward. Or not 10 o'clock, around 10:30-ish onward. And now we're headed for the 10 o'clock lows. So anyone who went short up here, congratulations. You had quite a trade and you're still going. That was about a 50-point delivery right there. So congratulations. With that being said, let's take our break and let's come back at 1 o'clock. And there's a new invitation for the afternoon session. I will see everyone who can make it then. Thank you very much for today's session. Till next time, take care.